Sometimes it seems that Mother Nature just insists that some things be discovered. A few days ago at work, during lunch, I was doing some digital archaeology, typing random things into Google and seeing what would show up. I don't remember exactly what my search terms were, but it was probably something like bushcrafting and primitive fire making, hand drilling, fire by friction, that sort of stuff. And on the second or third page of results, where all of the obscure stuff tends to show up, I came across a blog post by a fella whose internet handle was Papa D. Well, Papa D had written a story about his experiences with hand drilling, successes and failures and such. And he also described a device that he said he had invented and as far as he knew was unique. And he called it a Hickory Nut Top Hat with Strap device. He had a picture of it, which I printed out for you. There it is. Does that look familiar? Looks a lot like a rudimentary thumb sling thunderhead. It doesn't have the leather straps, but other than that, it looks like an early thumb sling thunderhead. Well, he also had a video that he linked to in his blog post. It's hosted on YouTube. I'll put a link to the blog post as well as this video down in the description for you to go look at later on. But the video he posted was kind of grainy and poorly lit, and it mostly focused on the forming ember. It didn't really show him using the device. But interestingly enough, the video was dated December 2015. That's about 5 years before I had my first ideas that developed into the thumb sling thunderhead. Well, that got my attention, and so I built one on my own. Here's mine. This is my Hickory Nut Top Hat with Strap device. My cordage is reversed wrap dogbane. I made that earlier in the spring to use with my pump drill project that my friend Mike Finelli and I built at summer camp this year. The hickory nut husk I had down here in the basement. I put some holes in either side with the awl bit of my Swiss Army knife, and I kind of cut a little channel between the two holes so that the dogbane would rest in the middle like that, not slide around. And I also put a small little divot in the center just to help my spindle not wander around inside of this cap. I haven't tried this out yet. I wanted to let you see my first efforts, so I think it's time to go outside and give this thing a try. I hope it works. I'm kind of excited, but I'm a little bit skeptical. Let's go outside. Wish me luck. All right, let's give this little Hickory Nut Top Hat with Strap device a try. I'm going to use a goldenrod spindle, and I've got a white pine fireboard. I've already made a little divot and burned it in and put a notch into it, but I have not yet tried for an ember. This is going to be my first attempt. I'm skeptical, but let's give it a try. I'm afraid to push down too hard on it because this hickory nut husk is so soft. It's starting to smoke. Sounds like my neighbor started to mow his yard too. we have an ember. That's pretty exciting. Made me work for it. Making me work for it all around today. That wasn't as easy as my usual thumb sling thunderheads, but it did work. I think I'm going to play with it a little bit more and come back with you with a few final thoughts a little bit later on. So stay tuned. Well, dang, that worked. I was skeptical, but I'm a believer now. In the clip that you just saw when I made the first ember and the flame, I was being pretty gentle, but I made a few more embers off camera and was increasingly more aggressive in using this Hickory Nut Top Hat with strap device. This hickory nut husk is pretty soft material, and at first I was afraid to press down too hard. I didn't want to break it, but in the embers that I made off camera and when I was doing a little bit more practicing, I was pressing down pretty hard, and it's none the worse for wear. It didn't break. It doesn't show any signs of damage at all. I was also initially concerned about rotating the spindle too much. I didn't want to get friction up in the cap and cause a hole to bore clean through it, but that proved not to be an issue either. You can see what I did here was I put a little taper on the end of my goldenrod spindle so that it would seat in that little divot and not wander around inside of that cap. And I tell you what, it is pretty close to frictionless. It doesn't show any signs of charring, and it didn't bore through it at all, as far as I can tell. It held up really very, very well. I'm a believer, folks. It seems that there are some things that are just destined to be invented, and I have to tip my hat to Papa D. It looks like he came up with the rudimentary thumb sling thunderhead at least 5 years before me. It's middle of September right now, and walnuts and hickory nuts are dropping from the trees like little grenades, and before long you'll find lots of these husks littering the forest floor. I encourage you to grab a few and make yourself a hickory nut top hat with strap device and give it a try. I think you'll be as impressed as I am. All right. That's all for this one, folks. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you again next time.